Good afternoon, everyone. You're watching Campus France Live. Thanks a lot to be there with us. Today, we're going to talk about higher education in France and to discover ESSEC and its global MBA. To talk about the global MBA and to know more about ESSEC, I'm very pleased to welcome Laura Valandro. Hello.
Hi everyone.
You're international recruitment manager. Just next to you, we are with Hans Koenig. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm well.
You're one of the global MBA participants, and we are also with Victoria Rogers. Hello.
Hi there.
An alumni from the Global MBA Luxury Brand Management. You can ask all the questions that you have about the school, about the program on the different chat sections. But to begin, maybe we will have a quick introduction from all the different guests of today. Let's start with you, Laura. Can you introduce yourself in a few words?
Of course. Hi, so I'm Laura Valandro. I am in charge of recruitment for the Global MBA, and I recruit students in Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Same question for you, Hans Koenig. Where are you from, and why did you decide to study at ESSEC?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the United States, spent 9 years in the aviation industry, and really wanted to expand my knowledge base and expand some of my education and background by studying overseas, and France was the perfect place for me.
Why was it the perfect place?
Why wouldn't you want to study in France? I really appreciated the kind of the cultural diversity that you see here and how well ranked and how good a quality the education system is here and the opportunities that it would afford me afterwards.
And same question for you, Victoria. Where are you from? Why did you decide to study at ESSEC, and what are you doing right now, because you're an alumni from 2019?
Yeah, so I'm Victoria Rogers. I'm originally from the US, similar to Hans. I was working in the investment industry for a little over 5 years and was looking to pivot into the luxury industry. So naturally, ESSEC came up on my search, and I found it actually pretty early on, so I wasn't eligible to apply for a few years. And once it was ready to do the whole MBA recruitment process, there was only one choice, and it was ESSEC for me. And now I work at Cartier in New York City as a strategic planning manager.
About all your ESSEC experience. But to begin, maybe Laura, can you tell us more about ESSEC? What is the school? What can we study there? And what is the Global MBA?
Yes, so ESSEC is the number 2 school in France. It is in the top 20 in Europe, and it's the top 50 school in the world. And the Global MBA that we're going to talk about today is the program for young professionals at ESSEC. So it's a 12 months full-time program that is taught fully in English for our professionals who wish to fast-track their careers.
How many years of professional life are they required to have?
So to be able to be eligible for the program, candidates need to have 3 years at the minimum of work experience, with on average 6 years of work experience.
Okay, and we have a little trailer to know more about Global MBA. We will be back just after that. So we're going to know more about the Global MBA of ESSEC. In which languages, Laura, is the Global MBA taught?
So the program is taught fully in English. French is not required to join the program. It is a plus if you do speak any French, but it's absolutely not required for the program.
And what are the different accreditations that you offer?
So the program is a grade de master, so you'll be able to have what we call a Bac plus 5, a master's degree, after you graduate from this program. And the school has the Triple Crown, of course, the ACSB, AMBA, et Quiz, so your degree will be recognized everywhere in the world and in France.
And so there are plenty of business schools in France and Europe. What was for you really interesting, and what was the key in your choice of studying at ESSEC?
Yeah, I really liked the program structure. The fact that it was only a year allowed me to leave the workforce temporarily without having to dedicate 2 years to the studying. I also appreciated that how close it was to a major metropolitan city like Paris. Being able to have the campus and college experience along with the metropolitan area experience was important to me. Additionally, the breadth of courses that were being offered and the different experiences really appealed to me. For example, are the different networking opportunities and the career coaching that was there, as well as the types of subjects, not only your major business courses, but more specialized things associated to digital leadership, like the track I'm doing.
And in your professional life, were you feeling that you were missing something like another diploma to ramp up, to have a better perspective? How were you in your professional life?
Yeah, so for me, I know Laura had mentioned that a lot of places have a lot of the students have an average of 6 years. I had 9, so I was a little bit higher on, but they were always with the same company. So I was hoping to kind of broaden my professional knowledge and learn not only from the school, but from the students as well, to be able to understand the business world from more angles than I had originally. So I was hoping to expand that knowledge and then use that moving forward in my career.
And you, Victoria, what was your situation regarding your professional life? Were you feeling that you were missing something and you wanted to have this diploma to ramp up, to have a better perspective in your professional life?
Yeah, so I felt that I had sort of experienced all that I wanted to in the investment industry and was really interested in pivoting to luxury. And in that pursuit, really realized that it was going to be difficult to do on my own, and I needed additional education as well as a larger network to help me make that pivot. And so that's how I found ESSEC and how I ultimately decided to pursue the program.
So Laura, 2 different specializations. What are there?
So we have a specialization in strategy and digital leadership, which Hans is doing, and we have a specialization in luxury brand management. So both are quite different, but they answer to different needs in those specific fields. And yeah.
And you begin directly in one of the specializations?
Absolutely. So when a candidate applies, they have to pick a specialization because it's so different. You are either passionate about one of the specialization or you're not, and we need to feel that passion when you apply.
Maybe, Hans, you can tell us more about the strategy and digital leadership specialization. What do you learn concretely? What do you do concretely in this specialization?
Yep. So you get all of the same core courses that you would normally get with an MBA, similar to your finance, accounting, strategy, things like that. But then we also have courses that are more specialized towards this type of business. So we are looking at things like digital disruption, entrepreneurship, business innovation, those types of activities that are really hot topics and kind of the future of business to really prepare us to be the future leaders of tomorrow.
And what is the balance between practical and theoretical courses? Because I imagine that with your 9 years of professional experiences, you don't want to only sit at a table and listen to a teacher.
100%. I mean, it is still a school, so you have to remember there's going to be that instruction component, but the teachers do try and make sure that you're really applying and learning through application. So you will have a lot of case studies that you'll be reading, papers that you're writing associated to them, but then we also have opportunities to really start from the ground up. Our entrepreneurship class, for example, you actually would create a company and do the pitch for it in front of some venture capital firms and the entire, really, what I like to say, get your hands dirty and really understand how it works. So I think it's a really good balance of both, where you're actually learning in a theoretical application and then trying to apply them through the projects that are done in the classroom.
And in your situation, Victoria, you were in the other specialization, the luxury brand management. Can you tell us a few words about it? What was it about and what did you learn concretely?
Yeah, so similar to what Hans said, we start with the same classes across the strategy and digital leadership track and for the luxury brand management track. And then for the luxury participants, you really start focusing in on classes that'll be core to the rest of the curriculum throughout the year. So you'll start with foundational courses, understanding everything there is to learn about the luxury industry and its history. And then as the year progresses, you'll focus more and more on different sectors. So how to manage a watch brand and how that's different from working in the beauty industry. And I think to kind of also answer that question about practical versus theoretical, what I found was really wonderful was our capstone project at the end of the degree, where you're taking everything you learned in the classroom and putting it into practice in this real world consulting like mission, which really helps add flavor and experience to your CV when it comes time to apply for jobs.
And we can imagine that in the teachers that you had, there were many professionals from the field.
Yes. Yeah, you have people, Denny Morrissey has been in the industry for, oh gosh, I think over 20 years. You have professors who are coming in to teach apart from their real world jobs. So it's really interesting to have their varied perspective and also learn from their experience and what challenges they've seen over the years and learn from that.
And what was your favorite class from all the classes that you followed during 12 months? What class was not better than the other, but was more interesting for you?
Yeah, I would say it had to be the global economy for luxury with Frank Azenkat. He is just such a wealth of knowledge and so passionate about the industry. And it really helped you deep dive in sort of like the financial and economic perspective of the luxury industry and helping break it down. And that's something that I frequently look back on and look on my notes when I'm doing my job now.
And you, Hans, what was your favorite class when you were? What is your favorite
so
class?
I'm still in it, obviously. This term, I think the one that I'm really enjoying right now is our innovation course, looking at how innovation is applied not only through traditional or through technology like we often think, but also through process. And then I really enjoyed our entrepreneurship course as well. It really teaches you how to come up with an idea and really get the whole project and the business going.
We are now going to talk about the admission process, how to get into the Global MBA of ESSEC. First of all, Laura, what background do you require? You just told us at least 3 years of professional life.
Absolutely. So we do require at least 3 years. But like I said, on average, it's 6 years of professional experience. We seek candidates with a wealth of different backgrounds. So there's no need to have specific business background. You absolutely can be an engineer. You might have worked in luxury or in different fields.
But what is really important is to be passionate about the different specializations.
Yeah, absolutely. So I talked about it a little bit earlier, and it's truly, I think, what is common to all our participants is being passionate about what they do, being passionate about their career, about why they're waking up in the morning to go to classes. It truly is something that we're seeking to see in the entire application process. When the candidate comes to me to ask questions about the program, I want to feel that passion. When the candidate writes their essays in the application online, and then also during the motivation interview. There is a motivation interview required in the admissions process, and it is necessary that our professors or academic director feel that interest, that passion, that work ethic that the candidate has.
And what are the different steps to apply to the Global MBA?
So there is an online application on our website. We require a couple essays, and we also require the GMAT and a TOEFL, a TOEIC, or an IELTS if the candidate's native language is not English. The GMAT is very important. It takes quite a long time to prepare, so it's good to keep in mind that it is required and that it needs to be shown during the application process. That's the first part. That's the more operational part, I would say. And then truly the motivation interview will be the most important, I think, part of the process. It will be with the program director and the professor of the program, sometimes an alumni, sometimes a current student of the program. It depends on the year. And it will be a great conversation about your motivations, about your career, about your passion, everything.
Can you maybe describe a little bit how your motivation interview was? What was the kind of question that you had?
Yeah, I know I was very nervous when I had mine, like most people are, but it was a really good opportunity to have a conversation with the school. I was able to talk about why I wanted to do an MBA, why I wanted to come to ESSEC and come to France, and how I thought this program was going to support me in the future. And it also gave me an opportunity to learn even more and ask some of the final questions that I might have on behalf of the school.
And how did you prepare for the interview? Did you have a specific training?
I definitely prepped for my GMAT score. That was one of the biggest trainings. But as you're going through your application, I had to write, for example, a letter of motivation, and it helped me kind of understand why I wanted to go. And so making sure that I had a clear outline of where I wanted to take my career and what my motivation behind it was a lot of the prep work that helped me.
What is, Laura, the calendar for the application procedure?
So we have rolling admissions until June. It's always better to apply as soon as possible. You never know how fast the program can fill up, but we do have rolling admissions every month. So we have one jury every month where you can apply until June.
Okay, and one important question is about the scholarships. How does it work, and what kind of scholarship are there for candidates?
Absolutely. So ESSEC does have a wealth of different scholarships that we offer to our different candidates. They will all depend on your profile. So whenever you apply, you will talk with me a lot. Whenever you apply, the goal is for you to exchange as much as possible with the admissions team. And the more I know about you, the more scholarships I can recommend to you. So we have, we're the 8th of March, so it's Women's Day. We have Women in Leadership Scholarship. We have entrepreneurship scholarships. We have internationalization, diversity. So really, we truly want to have different scholarships for different profiles in order to give as much opportunities as for diverse candidates.
And for you, Victoria, how was all this admission process? How did it go?
I think it went really well. Hans and I are here talking to you as participants and alumni, so it went successfully, thank God. But no, I think to echo what Hans said, it's really about having that internal preparation and that discussion with yourself. What are your motivations? What are your ambitions and targets post-MBA? And I think making sure that you have a realistic approach on that and that you can convey that to the admissions jury, both on paper and in person. So it's really having those difficult discussions with yourself. And obviously the preparation for the GMAT or the GRE is integral as well. But really having a clear vision as to what you want to pursue in the future is really important.
And Victoria, we know that once admitted, there is another important steps, not an admission step, but it's all the administrative procedure to come to France with the visa and all the papers you have to fill. How did ESSEC help you with all these administrative steps that are sometimes a little bit boring in France?
No, they were very helpful in terms of giving you the necessary paperwork to go to your local embassy or consulate and procure a visa. It's a little bit different from country to country, so it really is a true process, to say it nicely. But they were really helpful in helping me understand the different hurdles that I was going to face, understand the timeline of when I was going to receive any information, and it thankfully went very smoothly with their support.
What you can say, Laura, with all the support that the students have, both coming from the student admission process, and then with all the administrative procedure, and then when they want to find an internship or a job, is that once admitted at ESSEC, you're part of a family, kind of. You have the help and the support of an entire team.
Absolutely. So going on that discussion about family, it is important to keep in mind that the Global MBA is quite a small program. It's about 50 participants. So they all know each other quite well. And they know that the ESSEC Global MBA team also knows them well because it's a small program. The Talent Center accompanies them very closely for looking for internship or their capstone project, looking for networking events, opportunities to meet with alumni, field trips. We'll go into more details about those in a few, but really, truly, you are part of a like you said, a family, and it will follow you. You're only spending 12 months with everyone at ESSEC, so it's quite short, it's quite intense, but you will be together and have this connection for quite a long time afterwards.
And we're, in fact, going to talk about the student life. How is it like to be a student at ESSEC? Maybe, Hans, you can describe what the student experience is for you at ESSEC?
It's busy. It's definitely busy. You are doing a program in only 12 months, so you have to be committed to your studies. You have to be committed to the projects associated to it. But it's really good. It's a mix of the kind of study application as well as the opportunity to build that network that we were just talking about. You're not only building connections with your classmates, but reaching out to fellow alumni to better understand their world. For example, I've been able to build a good network of people in the consulting industry that are ESSEC alum and be able to set up coffee chats and guide and have conversations about my future with them. So it's a really good community, not only within the actual school, but anyone who had attended previously as well.
And there are on campus a lot of events because you live in Cergy, so it's an entire campus dedicated to ESSEC. So I imagine that you have a lot of connection, a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, so the student housing situation, there are a number of student housing options in the Cergy area, and you are also welcome to find your own accommodations elsewhere. So a lot of us will actually start in Cergy and potentially move into Paris, like myself. And then the school does set up a lot of events, especially networking events, guest speaker talks, things like that, for us to not only get to connect with each other, but then also connect with other alumni and companies, for example.
Victoria, maybe can you describe what your best memory at ESSEC is?
Oh, that's tough. But I would say one of my best memories has to be the field trips with my classmates. You're all there with a shared purpose of learning and further developing yourself professionally. But the field trips really allow for that opportunity of like just true bonding with one another. You're jet lagged. You're pursuing all of these different professional networking events. Your classmates are also your biggest support in helping you advocate for yourself when you're maybe a little bit tired. They'll be like, hey, Victoria, I think it's important for you to meet with so-and-so. So I think that was a really wonderful bonding experience and something I look fondly on.
And you, Hans, what is from now your best memory at ESSEC?
So we haven't had our field trips yet, but I've had the very similar experience that Victoria had just mentioned. I think the fact that it is such a small program, you really get to build tight connections with each other. And so the kind of networking events that we've had so far with our friends and our colleagues has been some of my greatest. We did have one kind of kickoff field trip right at the beginning, and I think that's one of my fondest memories so far, just because as the school is actually selecting all of the candidates, they're trying to build this good network of people, and our class just meshed really, really well, where we all got on the bus and were instantly friends. And so I think that was so far a really fond memory that I have, and I'm looking forward to our field trips in a couple weeks.
Where are they going for the field trip? Is it all the years the same place, or does it change?
So it depends on the year. So this year, the participants are going to London, all of them for both tracks. And then the luxury brand management participants will be going to Italy. And then the strategy and digital leadership participants will be going to Luxembourg and Brussels. So, lots of banks, lots of financial institutions. So that makes a lot of sense.
And we're going to talk about the professional world, because the idea after graduating is to find a job, to find a good job, because when you already worked for years, you have higher expectation than a new alumni. Maybe let's begin with you, Hans. There is a talent center at ESSEC. What is it exactly?
Yep. So we have a talent center with a few awesome women that are really helping us, and then the network of connections that they work with as well. So we're provided a lot of support as far as how to kind of build out your resume, how to build out your LinkedIn profile. We're provided good courses around personal branding, as well as multiple sessions with a career coach to really discuss where is it you want to go, how do you target your search, how do you continue your pitch. The goal is to really equip the students with all the tools that they need to be successful in their search, in their pitch, and to be able to go out into the workforce and find that job and secure that job that's really what they're looking for.
Victoria, when you arrive at ESSEC and in the Global MBA, what were your expectations about your future professional world life, and how did you meet these expectations?
Yeah, so I certainly started off with the hope that I would pivot into the jewelry and watches industry, and successfully managed to do that. So I'm proud of that accomplishment. And then, truth be told, would not been able to do that without the capstone experience, without Anthea Davis from the corporate relations team on the luxury track, Frank Azenkat, who just everyone was really supportive in helping me refine those interview skills, similar to what Hans said about the Talent Center. This one was focused more on how to prepare yourself for what the luxury interview process is like. What are the important components you have to put forward, behaviors, previous experiences that you should highlight, things that maybe you should keep more to yourself. So I think, it exceeded my expectations, and couldn't be happier.
And you, Hans, what do you want to do after graduating? Do you already know?
I think the MBA is an opportunity for self-discovery, for sure. And so I am hoping to be able to stay here in Europe in a business area, looking primarily at the consulting industry, or returning back into aviation, but in a higher role.
What can be the different job opportunities, Laura, for the students after the program? Mainly international, or can it be in France too? And what kind of fields and what kind of jobs?
Absolutely. So it depends on the specialization. Our participants in strategy and digital leadership will go on to consulting work, working with banks, working in international business development. And our luxury brand management participants will go into the luxury fields and through the higher maison in the luxury world. It's good to keep in mind that because French is not required, participants will be taught in English and will be able to go anywhere in Europe and the world. Most of our participants will stay within Europe. So 60% after graduation will stay in Europe, about 40% somewhere else in the world. It is absolutely possible to stay in France because the program has a grade de master. Participants can stay one extra year in France to look for a job. So that's absolutely possible. And
what are the salaries for the students after graduating?
So I think on average, it's about 110,000 in the world, and a world average $110,000.
And I already asked if it's possible to stay in France, so you just answered it and said yes. What would be the next step for you, Victoria, now that you are in a field that you really, really enjoy? What would be your next challenges professionally?
Well, no one can predict the future, but I'm really excited about continuing my career at Cartier. It's been such a wonderful onboarding process and work experience thus far. So looking forward to developing in my role. It's a cross-functional role, which is really exciting for me. So you get to dabble in projects across the business. And so hoping to just continue advancing within the team and just continue learning about this wonderful maison that I'm a part of now.
And what would be, Victoria, your advice for the students watching us today and planning to come to France to study at ESSEC?
I think, my core advice for the application would be to always use that optional essay. There is an opportunity for applicants to add additional color about who they are, their passion projects, their motivators. I think maybe Laura can touch on it better, but it's underutilized and a really wonderful opportunity for students to tell more about themselves. And then lastly, it would be to really take advantage of this one-year opportunity. It goes by really, really fast. At the beginning of the year, you think, oh, wow, like there's, so much time to be able to accomplish all of these different wonderful experiences, but it goes by really quickly. Maybe Hans is feeling the same way.
I'm surprised at where I'm at right now within the program, on how quick. When I first started, I was like, it's the longest time ever, and now I can't believe it's almost over.
And what would be your advice for the people watching us today?
I would say, similar to what Victoria said, really work through exactly what it is that you want to do and make sure that you're able to communicate that well. I think it's really important to make sure that you know what you want to get out of the program so that you can really focus on absorbing as much as you can when you get here. And learning a little bit of French never hurts as well. So.
And Laura, it's already possible to apply on the ESSEC website?
Yeah, absolutely. It's already possible to apply and until June, like I said. Maybe I will also add a couple recommendations on my side. I think truly what Victoria said about making sure you utilize that essay is very, very true. Make sure that you put light on yourself. As Hans said earlier, it's a small class, and so you will all know each other, and the more we know about you, the more we can make sure that you'll fit and that you'll be happy in the program. So the more information you give us about you also as a person, what are your hobbies, what are your passions, what you like to do, what makes you interesting, will make us want you more in the program. The content of the program, the academic side of the program is excellent, but also the experience that you will get inside the classroom and outside with your classmate will be very important. So give us as much information as possible. It's absolutely fine with us.
Thanks a lot, Laura, Hans, and Victoria, for having been with us today.
Of course.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for having watched us. If you want more information about the Global MBA of ESSEC, don't hesitate to visit the website of ESSEC, essec.edu.
Absolutely.
And see you soon on Campus France Live.